5/20/2015, and it's about 8:36 a.m. in the morning, and I'm here to talk about, well, first off, I'm dressed in light green and dark green. Okay, that'll give you a little bit of a clue. Light green and dark green. Okay, so I'm here to talk about the hemp plant. Not pot, not weed, not getting high off THC. That's not what I'm about, and that's not why I'm here. To the contrary. This is to the contrary of THC. Okay, this is not endorsing THC whatsoever, which is the element in pot that makes you high, will get you the highest, is the THC. The higher the THC, the higher you become, quicker and with less use. And started off, pot or weed started off as the when they're using it as smoking it, as from 0.5% to 1% of THC in the pot plant on the street. Okay, so now nowadays it's been found with up to 36% of THC in it. Why? It's because the more THC, this is just like what I just said, it's because the more THC, the quicker the high, and the higher the high. So you need less of it. Do the same thing as the half or 1% or 5% or even 10%. You know, when it's 36%, man, it's like put you on your back, even if you are a pot smoker. But I'm not here to talk about that part of it. That's the evil part of the hemp plant. Yeah, that's the evil part of it. The THC is. The good part of the hemp plant is the CBD. And when you have most pot, especially the pot you find on the street or the pot that pot smokers smoke, are very low in CBD, very low, because when there's two strains of pot, two hybrids of pot. Okay, there's two. One to be grown for a very high CBD, which causes that same hemp plant to be very low in THC. And that kind of medical hemp plant will not get you high, or if it did, it would be so low of a high that you wouldn't even feel it. I mean, cigarettes would be worse as far as the high goes. And but the medical use of that with a high CBD in it is astronomical. It's astronomical, man. That's the true medical use of the hemp plant. And I wouldn't even call it pot. I wouldn't even call it weed, because it's the highest strain. It's the hybrid of the hybrids of pot for medical use. And it's a wonder drug. It's a super drug, man. God, you can't believe it. I was watching some documentations and documentaries on YouTube. And there's this guy that talks like this all the time when he's having where you can't even understand him. He goes, now he's talking like this. I mean, you can't even tell. You can't even tell. I mean, he goes, it's like this. Like, I think twice. Maybe it was only once. Now he's talking like this. Normal. Another case, a 5-year-old kid has epileptic seizures. 300 seizures a week. 300. And some of them are flatline seizures. It's the worst seizures you can ever possibly even get. And they tried every drug out there for that. Guess what? she still had 300 seizures every week. The drug didn't do nothing. All these, 25, 30 bottles of different kinds of drugs didn't do jack. Not jack. She would go to the hospital flatline. This wasn't even a decision by her parents. It's the only alternative. And they were totally against pot like I am. They were brought up in, like the 60s, 50s, 60s, like I was. And were led to believe by the U.S. government, by them lying to us about the hemp plant. The U.S. government brainwashed everybody, including me. I'm so brainwashed it ain't funny. I'll admit it. The hemp plant is a super plant, man. Christ, everybody should be growing 100 plants out in their yard, man. And that's no joke. Everybody in the United States should be growing at least 100 plants of that shit out in the yard. That's no joke. Now, you'll understand why at the end of this video. That's bullshit that the U.S. government is shoving down your fucking throat like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, man. I like Joe Rogan, okay? Fear Factor, he's the announcer in Fear Factor. And he's really known for the UFC announcer, the main UFC announcer. And I didn't know this about Joe Rogan until I looked up his UFC information. And he's not a fighter, but he's an announcer. I'm going, why have this dude announce? I mean, why? I didn't think he knew anything about karate. I didn't think he knew anything about fighting at all. I'm going, he's Fear Factor good. He's great. He's a great announcer there. With this guy, he definitely knows about karate and judo and the different types of defense and offense, man. He's a third degree dan, if not a fourth degree by now. He's a third degree. That's a high dan in karate. Any karate you take, third degree high dan is a teacher. I mean, well, you're a teacher before you're black belt, but I mean, this is like a sensei. I mean, he's like the teacher of teachers when you're a third dan. And my style goes up to 10 dan. And but a third dan is definitely a teacher. My first teacher was only a fourth dan. My first Okinawan karate teacher was a fourth dan. And then he decided to build a boat and go to the ocean. That boat was way too small, man. He almost died, I guess. But he had the students building his boat for him. So when he was going to retire to the sea in that boat, this other seventh degree dan took over his dojo. That's the dojo is a place where you go to study and learn karate. It's like a little gym. But he's a seventh. He was a seventh. He's probably 8 or 9 now, if he's alive. I don't know. But he was a seventh dan, which my style only goes to 10. So you gotta imagine this dude. And he's like a Bruce Lee, with that 1-inch punch, man. He can take his leg up like that and shove your ass to the wall, no matter what you're in. I mean, when you're in that, he did it to me. I know for a fact he can do it. He just did like that, boom, like that. He said like this, boom, to my stomach muscles, and just held it there, and then just went wham like that. I went. He showed me, man. Man, wow. God, I don't know where the fucking force came from that. Shit, it's like that 1-inch punch Bruce Lee's. But he did it with his foot. I was impressed. Because when you're in your stance like that, with your legs bent at the knees and you're in a praying mantis stance, you don't just do that to someone. But man, he did it to me. I'm going, wow, where'd all that force come from? Christ, man. I mean, as soon as he did like that, I was, damn. Oh, that's another story. But Joe Rogan, man, he definitely knows karate. He knows karate, judo. I think he said he was a purple belt or blue belt in judo, and he's like a third or fourth dan in a karate style. I'm going, wow. And then I seen Joe Rogan working out, man. He's working out. He's got his shirt off and shit, man. Motherfucker's in shape. He should be down there fighting. But you don't have to because he's getting paid enough to be a announcer. But man, Joe Rogan, whew, man, he's in excellent shape, Jack. He's doing the splits all the way out. Man, he's flexible too. He's not only got a killer body, man. He's flexible. Joe Rogan's not someone you mess with. I couldn't believe it, man, when I saw that. I'm going, wow, Joe Rogan, wow. That's why he's a UFC announcer. It's in his blood, man. Fighting and karate and the different techniques are in his blood, man. That's him. That's him all over. It's Joe Rogan all over, man. All over the place. It's all Joe Rogan. So, Joe Rogan has a special spot in my, my heart. So I'm seeing this guy, Joe Rogan, man. He's saying, man, he's endorsing the use of pot. He's endorsing the use of the, having pot and using pot. And I'm going, this guy's a stoner. I mean, before I kept seeing him on like the documentaries and what he said when he was in the UFC and when he was announcing the UFC, not on the UFC, but when he was talking about pot and shit, and how he endorses it, and how it's like I think it was like in 2005, he was just like me. He was brainwashed by the U.S. government, believing that pot was a very evil drug, and it was like the evilest drug out there, and you don't even want to touch that stuff. He was brainwashed just like me, from the U.S. government. And he said he never used pot before until 2005. 2005, he started using pot, endorsing pot, and believes in pot. Because he checked it out just like I'm doing now, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to use pot stuff. Not unless I absolutely had to, for the CBD beneficial part of it, where you don't get high and stuff, but it's the most medical use marijuana that you can get, and it's the only part of the plant that is possibly, because they don't confirm any of this stuff. Government's not confirming any of this stuff because I'll tell you, you understand why once by watching this video. You understand why the government is totally against pot. Or I'm gonna from now I'm gonna say the hemp plant, not pot no more, because pot is the evil side of the hemp plant. Pot and weed. Whenever you use those terms in the joint, okay, that part is the bad part of pot. Good part of pot is the CBD percent of it. That's the good part, and all pot has CBD in it anyway. So that can make it look like the THC is good, but it's not. It's not good at all. It has no use whatsoever in medical use, none. Not even for glaucoma. The only reason it's good for glaucoma anyway is because of the high you get from it, which is it opens the pupils and relieves the pain, relieves the pressure on the pupils. That's the only thing it does. But they haven't proved any of this shit. The U.S. government, and they don't want to prove any of that stuff, and you'll understand why after you watch this video, and the reason why that the U.S. government will continue to lie about the use of pot or hemp, the hemp plant. And we started out as the in America with the hemp plant legal as hell, and I'll tell you why throughout this video though. Just keep watching. Because you're going to love this. You're going to love it. Especially if you're a tree advocate, where you don't want a lot of clear-cut forests cut. Especially if you're like that. And especially if you want a fossil fuel that is organic. The best fossil fuel ever, man. You won't believe this. It's gonna be hard for me to talk about this because it's so fucking, like Joe Rogan says, so fucking, it's so, it's a super plan. It's the greatest plan ever. And the U.S. and it's illegal to grow, like Joe Rogan says. It's illegal to grow. Why? Wow. There hasn't been one death contributed to pot. Why? Why is this? Wow. Why is this drug? Why is this drug so illegal in the United States? You get outside the United States, shit, like Jamaica, shit, they'll be walking down the street smoking that shit. There'll be pot plants all over the place. No, hardly any place where there ain't no pot plant. And I'll tell you why through the video. The Jamaican part is not for medicinal or medical use, though. That's the big difference between what I'm talking about and what the U.S. government talks about, and what pot users talk about. This video isn't to the contrary. Everything else, everything what they're saying is wrong. They're lying to you anyway, so it don't matter. But I'm Dan, same time, same channel. I'm gonna make another video and connect this stuff together so it's all in one place. Today is 8/20, or 8/20, 5/20, 2015, and it's what, about 8:53, 8:54 a.m. in the morning, and like I said, I'm gonna start talking about the hemp plant, but I'm gonna say the hemp plant, not pot or weed, because the hemp plant is a very respectable plant, and pot or weed is the evil part of that. It's the evil part of the hemp plant, and like I was gonna say, there's this 5-year-old kid. I already talked about the guy with the abdominal that talks like this until he takes a toke from marijuana or hemp. Then he talks like this. But the other girl is 5 years old. She goes into epileptic seizures, 300 a week, probably more. And she's taken, like 25 or 30 different types of drugs, all of no use. So the parents didn't decide to take pot because their brainwashed from the U.S. government, like I am. Okay, like you are, and probably like everybody, they're brainwashed from the U.S. government, lying to them about pot or about the hemp plant. They're not really lying to you about the evil side of hemp, but they're lying to you about the hemp plant, period. So, and Joe Rogan, he's a very big advocate of the pot plant, but not until the year 2000, about 5 years ago. But I want to pinpoint a year, so you play this, you watch this video 10 years from now, you'll know about what year that Joe Rogan decided to become an advocate of pot or hemp. And it was approximately 2005 is when Joe Rogan decided to use and endorse pot and the hemp plant. And you understand why if you just keep watching this video. But anyway, the 5-year-old took 25, 30 different types of drugs. Okay, this can kill you all by itself. By mixing, 1 or 2 drugs together, that right there can kill you. Okay, it kills like a couple 100,000 people a year. Pharmaceutical prescribed drugs, because when you mix two certain types of drugs together, it's done. Your life's done. But and that happens. Over 100,000 people a year die of it, of pharmaceutical prescribed drugs. I'd use Michael Jackson, but that would be a bad example. like Michael Jackson. He's one of the superstars of all superstars. Probably most people like Michael. And he probably is something alive somewhere. I don't know. But if I knew that, I'd make $1 million, you know. But yeah, that 5-year-old, man, 20, 25, 30 different types of drugs, and none of them are working. So the parents, mom and dad, are brainwashed like the U.S. government brainwashed me and brainwashed you. I'm thinking that hemp plant is like the weirdest, baddest drug out there, which no deaths have been contributed to it. Like alcohol. Alcohol's, a couple 100,000 people a year die of it. Alcohol poisoning, the effects of alcohol, and they're not allowing a hemp plant to be legal where I can grow it in the fucking yard? Why? I'm gonna unveil that veil that the U.S. government put on your head. Because it unveiled me, man. When I saw a couple of these videos, I'm going, wow, that's a super plan. Anyway, the 5-year-old, 25 to 30 different pharmaceutical drugs made for what she's got. The epileptic seizures. She has epileptic seizures to the extreme, where she goes flatline sometimes. This is a 5-year-old, little kid, 5-year-old, come on. Okay? So they're going to try to get some, legally give her marijuana, because that's their only option, not because they made a decision, because it's their only option. Once they found a grower that is intentionally growing a hybrid of the hemp plant, which this is what they had to have, the hybrid part of this, the high CBD hybrid of the hemp plant. They needed that, and what they did is they extracted a liquid out of it. Somehow they made a liquid out of it, because they gave it to her in her food, like a half a teaspoon of it, just like a half a fucking teaspoon of this. A half a fucking teaspoon. And all this, a pound of fucking tablets, pills, all this pharmaceutical, pounds of it. Christ, come on. Wake up, motherfucker. A half a fucking teaspoon of this shit in her food. The first time, motherfucker, she no longer has seizures. God damn, if that ain't proof. Wow, you tell me what the fuck is. And if they give it to her, every so often, say every day or so, wow, no epileptic seizures. Or if she has them, they're mild. What's the deal? What the fuck is the U.S. government doing to us? They're fucking us. You better just fucking bend over and let them slide it in, bud. Because they're fucking you. They got you so confused. And even now today, there is no conclusive evidence of anything. Not of what I'm telling you, not of anything of the drug, of the hemp plant. Not even the bad part of it, not even the good part of it, neither part. They're saying that it may be, there may be some trace of medical use, but they're trying to get you to believe, oh, this is just a mild thing and it ain't gonna help nothing. That's what the government's gonna try to do, and gonna keep on doing. You know why? Because of the multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical drug business. That's why. Without that multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical drug business, the government's up a fucking creek. Because that's where they make the money, right there. What's the main anything. What's the main anything that makes the most money? It's drugs, period. Whether it be the street or pharmaceutical. It's drugs, bud. I don't care what it is. Alcohol is a drug. Right there, if you add alcohol into it, Jesus Christ, it's absolutely astronomical on the money involved. That's why the U.S. government wants to keep you with that veil on your fucking head that the hemp plant is a worthless plant, weed. I'm surprised they even call it a weed. Because it's so useful. When you call a plant a weed, it means you want to pull it up and throw it away. And that's what a weed is. That's why, and even the street use call it weed. Why are they calling this fucking very useful plant a weed? Why? They call it a hemp plant, but they also call it. They're also saying it's a herb. Until you go to use it, then it's a drug. But why, man? That's why. The multi-billion-dollar drug business, they don't want touched. And if you get a drug such as the hemp plant and CBD, the CBD is what's going to do the miracle stuff. CBD, high in CBD and low in THC. Okay, the bad part. Not only that, that's just the tip. That's just a tip of the iceberg. They're saying back in the early 1900s, they made paper out of this shit. You can make you can make a replacement for fossil fuel, which is bio-grade diesel fuel. It makes a killer. I mean, it's like the best thing you can put in a diesel engine. And not only that, they can make it for the car. If they can make it for diesel, they can make it for, gas for your car. That's what I'm saying. Paper. One of the most uses for it was before nylon was invented. The made up nylon, fabricated nylon. Before that, you know what the rope they use for the Navy? For the Navy, man? The strongest, most durable, that won't rot in water. Guess what they made it out of? You got it, bud. It's hemp. It's totally hemp. It was all hemp. It's a hemp rope. It's a hemp rope. It won't rot. It won't rot in water. No matter how fucking long you leave it in there. And it's a natural, man. All you gotta do is, make it in strands to, make somehow to connect it, and you can make it as long as you want. So, and it won't rot in water. Now that, guess what? Your clothes, man. Your clothes. You make all kinds of clothes out of pants, shirts, and it's way more durable than let's say, cotton. Way more durable. It lasts, lasts like 10 times longer. Your shirt, your pants, shoes. Yeah, you make damn near everything out of the damn hemp plant, man. Our Declaration of Independence was wrote on hemp paper. Was wrote on hemp paper. And guess what? Hemp paper is the most fucking durable paper you can ever get. And even the Declaration of Independence, back in 1776, when they wrote it on hemp paper, even that shit don't yellow. It don't yellow. It don't even fucking yellow. Any paper used on any other, like through wood products, will yellow after a few years. Become, brittle and just blow away. It's dead. It's like when you die, you turn into dirt and blow away. We're a hemp plant, man. Jeez. It's unreal. It's fucking unreal, man. You can make you can make organic gas out of this. You can make organic gas out of it. Come on. And this is an evil plan? This is the evil plan that the U.S. government's trying to get you to believe. And it doesn't, and it worked. And guess what? It worked. You believed every bullshit of that. I can't even believe it, man. After I watched a few videos on YouTube, I mean, I'm a firm person against the THC power and drugs, period, including alcohol. I've never done any of that shit, and never gonna. Unless I have to, unless I have to go to the hemp plant and get the CBD. My life might depend on the hemp plant someday. It might depend on it because of the CBD in it, not because of the THC, but because of the CBD. Because the THC does nothing other than get you high. And the more THC you have, the more higher you get, and unless you have to use, but. It's the CBD that makes it a wonder. It makes it a wonder drug. And guess what? If that was legal, guess what it would do to all these other drugs that girl was taking? Where's the dumpster at? Yeah, just put all them hundreds of bottles and hundreds of different types of drugs in there. That's all it's worth. It's worth the dumpster. It's worth the dumpster. That's all those drugs are worth. As far as that little girl is concerned. And epileptic seizures. That's epileptic seizures, which is a major disease among a lot of people. It just so happens this girl has the top of the line of it. And guess what? Top of the line can't even compare, can't even mess with CBD. Because you give her just a little bit of that shit, and she's fine. That's what you call a wow drug, a super drug, and a super plant because of the paper you make out of it, the clothes you make out of it, the rope that doesn't rot that you make out of it. Come on, U.S. government, fuck you. You're full of shit. You're trying to get me to believe the full shit concept, and I did believe it up until yesterday. Wow. Keep in mind, I'm not advocating the THC, the pothead users of this. I'm not advocating that whatsoever. That's wrong. But today, well, you know what I would say, same time, same channel, and I'll continue this video. Wow, the hemp plant, jeez. That's why I'm in light green and dark green pants. Talking about the hemp plant. Wow. Not THC. THC is a different story. That's the pot users. That's the evil part of the hemp plant. And it has no use for it in the medical field at all. Not THC. And it is possible to grow a hemp plant without THC or very little, so where you won't even feel a high. If you smoked 10 joints, you wouldn't even feel a high. It's the CBD. The CBD, that's the medical part of marijuana, which all pot has. It just doesn't have it in high quantities or high percentages. Where when you grow a hybrid pot plant to be a high percent of CBD, that's the medical use. And all the other pot is just it's just a legal cover-up. So all the U.S. government really has to do is say, okay, if you want medical pot or medical hemp, then you're going to have X amount of CBD percent, which that X amount of CBD percent would be where you could barely even feel high at all. So anything above that is a legal drug or an illegal drug, narcotic. And that's all they really have to do. That would shut down that would shut down damn near everyone growing pot in every state. That would shut everybody down, except for the very select few that grow it but don't sell it because they can't. They grow it because they have a CBD high percentage, because they know that that's the medical part of it, of the hemp plant, um, and the THC is just a waste of, just a waste, and other than making you high. So they know that, but they know that if they grow up with a high CBD or a percentage, they're not going to sell it unless the person's sick. So, well, they will with the higher THC because of the high that you get from the THC that has no effect whatsoever on any medical part of anything, other than getting you so high you don't feel your pain. I mean, you can do that with alcohol. I mean, what's the point? But with Hillary Clinton running as president, or running for presidency, let me tell you a little bit about the Clinton administration. Wow, this kind of blew me away. I can't even believe Hillary's even running with that video on YouTube. It's on YouTube right now. And that's how I found out about it. Because I was looking up different presidents that were impeached. And Bill Clinton was impeached. I mean, totally went through the court process and everything. He was impeached. But as of all other presidents that were impeached, like I think there's 4 or 5 total presidents that have been impeached, with the exception of Richard Nixon that quit before he got impeached. And I'm gonna not go off the wall on this one because make the video too long. But it was all about the Watergate thing, and if he did reveal the tapes, he would have been impeached like that because there's just too much stuff said on the tapes. He couldn't release them. He knew it because if he did, that's the end of his job right there. He would have been impeached. But all presidents who have been impeached, 4 or 5 of them served a full term of office. They were never ejected or kicked out of office because of impeachment. And Bill Clinton was just a classic example of that. He was indicted. He was indicted for lying under oath in a federal court, and all charges were dismissed after he was convicted of them. After he was convicted of all the charges, like the Lewinsky case, the the lying under oath in a federal court, and a federal judge, and they were all he was relieved of all the charges. So, see, you're president, man. You're president. You're number one. you don't keep those charges. But I'm surprised Hillary's even running with that video on YouTube. If that video was fake or false, that's the first thing I'd do if I was Hillary, is get that damn video off YouTube. Because it's saying that Bill Clinton was a cocaine. He was a cocaine head. Bill Clinton was. And he had a special fleet of I think it was like 4 planes, 4 small planes. He had a special fleet of planes flying cocaine over the U.S. border, so he can use it and also sell it, because they made a lot of money on it. And speaking of money, Bill Clinton was the administration when the United States was the strongest economically. It was the strongest. So that would tell you something about cocaine. But it's not because Bill Clinton's a genius or anything, or the best president. It's not. He lies under oath, a federal court. He lies under a federal court. He messes around with women, even though he's married. He says he doesn't inhale. This is a classic example of the U.S. government putting a veil over your head, man. Bill Clinton is a classic example of putting a veil over your head and getting you to believe certain shit that's impossible. He didn't inhale, yet he'll snort cocaine. It's just a joke, man. Like Joe Rogan was saying, like Joe Rogan's saying. He's saying, if you watch this far on this video, you've seen this shit on this video, and you're not laughing. You're not laughing about the hemp plant or pot and weed, about what the U.S. government's telling you about it, how bad it is. If you're not laughing at this point, then you're a dumbass. And he's right. He's right. He's 100% right. And he's putting his fucking job on the line, saying that he's a user, he's an endorser of the hemp plant. He's putting his job on the line. I mean, he's in a profession, he's not a fighter, but he's still in a profession of fighters. And if he's endorsing all this shit, UFC has every right to say, we're done. Because you get caught smoking pot or doing drugs in the UFC, and you're going to be fine for the first time, and the second time you ain't going to be able to fight no more. You're not even going to be able to participate in the UFC. That's just the way it is. And here you got Joe Rogan, one of the main characters of UFC. He's the announcer, for God's sake. Come on. And he's endorsing this shit and saying he's definitely a user of it. But he wasn't a user until 2005, because that's when his veil was taken off. And he understands why the U.S. government puts that veil on your head, saying that hemp plant is like the worst plant ever, and it's a weed, and it's like the worst drug ever, and it'll make a lot of crime, and which none of it's been proven. None of that's been proven. None. And not even a death. Not even a death contributed to the hemp plant. Not even one death. And look at alcohol. Alcohol's, a couple 100,000 people a year die from alcohol from automobile accidents to alcohol overdose, that's another thing about the hemp plant. You can't OD on a hemp plant, no matter how many joints you smoke. You can't. It's impossible. That's an impossibility. That's one thing the government allows people to say, is you cannot OD on the hemp plant. It's impossible. Where you definitely can, you can OD on alcohol on your first use. You get a person who's never drank before, and let's say he drinks a lot, he drinks over the two, it's 2 drink, after 2 drinks you're legally classified as being drunk. Now this guy who has never drank before, let's say, he does that, he can die from alcohol poisoning just from that. He can, and it has happened. That's the OD, you die from it, from the overdose of alcohol poisoning. It's called alcohol poisoning is what it's called. There's no such thing as a hemp plant or pot or marijuana or joint. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as an OD using a hemp plant. No such thing. There never has been and never will be. It's a wonder drug. But not because of the THC. I'm not endorsing THC, period. I'm totally against THC. Because the plant, if it's grown right, like for medical use should be, for the hemp plant, if it's grown right, you won't even get a high off of it, no matter how much you smoke of it. You won't get a high because of the CBD content. CBD content, you can't OD on it because you can't OD on anything from the hemp plant. You can't. It's impossible. It's proven. That's proven. But it's the CBD in it that's the medical use part. So like I said in my last part of this is all the U.S. government has to do, if that was all was involved, is the THC part of it, which it is, and it's not. But if that's what all was involved, all you had to do, all you would have to do is say, legal pot has to have a certain amount of CBD in it, because then the person can't get high off of it, so therefore it's no longer a dangerous drug. It can't be, and it shouldn't have been in the first place because of the record of no deaths. And they can't improve crime. They can't improve any crime that's been contributed from the use of the hemp plant. So, what's the U.S. government really telling you? They're saying that's a super plant. That's a super plant. You should be growing it, legal or not, because of the rope you can make out of it. You know, where it doesn't rot in water. Period. It doesn't ever rot. The length of the use of the hemp plant, such as for paper. Just think if everybody grew pot, and even farmers had acres and acres and acres and miles of pot, like they used to. They used to do that. It's like back in the early 1900s, I believe. I'm not sure the dates on that, but that used to be like one of the main crops. Is the hemp plant, because of the fact that the hemp plant makes excellent paper. Therefore, you won't have to cut down any, hardly any trees for paper, or if any trees for paper at all. Any paper product you can make out of the hemp plant. If you have enough hemp plants, jeez, just think how much forest you could save. Wow, it's like this should blow your mind, man. It's a wow factor. No doubt about it. Once you take the U.S. government bullshit off, it's a wow plan. God, there ain't no other plant compares to it. No other plant. There is no other plant that compares to pot. Or, the hemp plant. I want to say hemp plant because when you say pot, you're talking about THC. And I don't endorse THC at all. Not for medical use, not for any use. Okay. And a street user or a pot user for the high wants a high THC. He wants the highest THC they can get for their money, because that's going to make you the highest, the longest, and the highest high. But I'm not endorsing that at all. I'm endorsing the CBD part of the plant, the real medical use of the plant, not the cover-up story of THC. And that's why they want it legal. But the hemp plant should be legal. It should be legal as growing tomatoes out there in the out there in your yard. It should be that legal. And if it was that legal around, you probably wouldn't have to worry about people stealing it, like you would today. If you put even one pot plant out there, don't expect it there in the morning. This guy that I grew up with, we were in diapers together. I was wondering why he was always, a different type of kid. He was always like a little bit overweight, and he runs like a girl. I'm going, what's up with this dude, man? I wasn't thinking drugs at the time, but yeah, he said later, yeah, I've done every drug out there, cocaine, heroin, whatever it was, he did it. And, even alcohol. But he doesn't like alcohol because he prefers pot or the THC to get him high. But, I went kind of like a sort of part-time friend with him to a zero friend. As a matter of fact, he hates me because he says I turned him in. And for his pot plant operation, even though he has a card, he got caught with four plants over his limit. And the limit at that time was like 12 plants, I think. But he was 4 plants over. He's all mad, shit, he won't even talk to me no more. Matter of fact, he wants me dead, I think. But yeah, he's a different advocate of it, though. He's the THC druggy type person of it, and that's the two endorsements you're gonna get: the druggy type or the real medical use of marijuana, or the hemp plant, which is the high CBD percent of it. And so we don't, you know, I never really talked that much to him anyway, because he was kind of a different type of, just to say, different type of person. And I had a couple other friends. I mean, they weren't the different type of person. And but I won't mention his name or nothing, because there ain't no need for it. But he's a pot grower still, and he's got a pot card, and he told me his explanation, but he didn't say he gave the doctor $100 under the table, which he probably did. I guess now his mother even gave the doctor $100 under the table for her pot card so he could grow more of it. I mean, that part, you know, growing more of it, fine. As long as it's not the THC, that's what he grows. You know, the higher bred of THC. Which that right there is you're a drug dealer, man. But if you do grow it to contain the real medical use, which is CBD, it can't have high THC. The less THC, the more CBD in a pot plant. So you can't have both. It's a yin and yang of the hemp plant. It's either you know, you're doing it for the high part of it, or you're doing it for the real medical use of it. And it just so happens most people do it for the high part, and they just use the medical use part of it, you know, for the card and stuff, as a cover-ups to be, you know, so they can be high all the time, and, you know, not have to go to jail for it, and they can sell it and make a big profit. But because drugs is the number one way to make money, whether it be legal or illegal, no matter how you look at it. I'm Dan, same time, same channel. Keep watching. Today is 5/20/2015 at 9:44 a.m. And I'm talking about the hemp plant today. Pot and weed and junk like that, but I'm just referring to the hemp plant. The Clinton administration, man, they got this video on YouTube. You gotta see it. Explains how Bill Clinton was a cokehead, and he had a fleet of planes, like four or five planes, that would get the coke, fly them over U.S. border, so that he could have coke. So, you think it really is wise to vote for Hillary? Who is right there with Bill? You don't think Bill's going to have a big influence on Hillary? My advice to you is treat Hillary like she is nothing. Like she can't become president. Just treat her like that. That's the best way you can treat her. You don't want her as president. You want a cokehead? You want a cokehead as president? Because you know Bill Clinton's going to be right behind her. He's going to live in the White House again. You know, if she got presidency, why? You want a cokehead in there again? That says he don't inhale and lies under federal court to a federal judge. It's been proven. He was impeached. Why would you want a Clinton in there again? Especially his wife. That don't make no sense at all, but you know, neither does the federal government when it comes to hemp. When it comes to hemp, the hemp plant, there's nothing they can prove about it. There's nothing. I've looked on the internet, I can't find anything that they say absolutely this is that, other than you can't OD on it, and there has never been a death contributed to it. That's a dangerous drug. Come on, man. Like Joe Rogan says, if you're not laughing by this point in the video, you're a dumbass. You're a dumbass. That's what Joe Rogan says. And Joe Rogan's pretty wise, man. He's pretty wise. He's a great announcer for the Fear Factor, a great announcer for the UFC. and he's putting his job on the line saying shit like that. It looks like he don't care, but he wants the truth out. And he's right, and the U.S. government's been lying to us. And that was like the #1 crop back in the early 1900s, before nylon was invented. But because the hemp plant being, if you make ropes out of it, it's great for the Navy in their ships to be in the water all the time, and it won't rot. It's great for making great clothing, and it lasts, 3 times longer than most other fabrics, like shirts and pants and shoes and you name it. The hemp plant can make great garments. And then the medical part of it with a high CBD in it. I'm not endorsing the THC. THC is the bad part. The yang. It's a yin and yang plant. It's a yin and yang plant. A good and bad plant. The good part is if it's got a high CBD percentage, it's the yin of it, the good part of it. If it's got a high THC percentage, it's the yang, the bad part of it. That's the part that's going to get you high. That's the only, that's the part that's the worst part of the plant. But everybody wants that worst part of the plant to get the highest, so they get a higher percent. They found up to 36% on the street, when it used to be from 0.5% to 1%, almost all marijuana, or hemp was. But then they kept hybriding it, and then they found out that the CBD in it is the medical part of it. And whenever you have a high CBD medical part of it, you have a very low, which won't even get you high, THC. So, and it has a wide range of uses. Shit, you can run your car on that shit. You can run your car on it. You can run diesel engines on it, the big rig that get like 2 miles per gallon. You can run a big rig on it. The diesel part, you can run your car on it. And it's repellent, you can redo it and keep your chain going and always have it. You don't have to rely on Iraq or whoever else has oil. That we went to war and kicked their ass for their oil. I mean, many people died because of that. The hemp plant, you can just grow it like any other plant. As a matter of fact, they call it the weed. The weed's hard not to grow. So if you just do a little extra on it and make it a high CBD, a high CBD percent, now you got a wonder drug. It's a wonder drug, no doubt about it. It's a wonder drug. I don't care what the U.S. government says or don't say. They're keeping the pot plant inconclusive because they don't want their drug industry, the whole drug industry, multi-billion dollars, going away anytime soon. They'd rather shoot you dead before that happens, because you're talking about I don't know, $50 million a year, or $1 billion, $50 billion a year. I mean, it's like the best way you can make money is drug, either be legal, pharmaceuticals, or illegal. Either way, it's the best way to make money from drugs. It's the easiest way. You say, oh, you got pot, man. You'd have it sold like that. You walk out your door. Hey, I got pot. $10, $100. Here you go. Here's $100 for you. Here. That's the way deals are made. I mean, it's the simplest form of fluent or liquid acid. But that's probably why the U.S. government don't want you to have any of it. It's illegal, period. It's illegal, period, man. You should have a pot card, and even then they're going to try to stick you with it. But that should be a wonder plant, and everybody should be growing hundreds of plants wherever they live. Even if you live in an apartment, you could grow all kinds of. You can grow at least 12 plants, not 24, But That's the number one way to make money is off drugs. But the hemp plants, it's not only the drug part, the CBD part of it, or the THC for the bad people and keeping the bad stuff going in the high. It's not only those two things. That thing's got 400 elements. 400 elements, man. 400. Come on, let's analyze all these 400. Let's analyze them. Why isn't the U.S. government right on that? Because they don't want something natural curing you. They want something they gotta fabricate, so you pay them money. That's why, right there. If you don't pay them the money, and you got this hemp plant that's gonna cure most of your shit. They're worried about that. The U.S. government's very worried, and they'll kill you for it. They'll kill massive amounts of people, so that don't happen. Because they don't want their multi-billion-dollar business going away. And you believe in this drug bullshit works, but it don't. It kills, like 100,000 people or 200,000 people a year. But the hemp plant is a wonder plant, and everybody should own 100 plants of it. And if everybody did, let's say farmers had acres and acres, miles and miles of it, sooner or later it's going to drop down where you won't have to worry about your crop being stolen. But because the price would be so low, and there'd be so much of it, it wouldn't matter. But speaking of that guy that I grew up with, that has a pot operation, that's got a card. He's got a weed card or pot card. He probably slipped the doctor $100 to get that. So does his mother he lives with, that pays all the bills. She probably did too, and so he can grow more of it. Because they reduced it from 12 plants, I think, to 6. But they reduced it at some point, and they kind of he didn't like that, because he already got penalized for having 4 plants. He had to give up 4 plants. I don't think anything else happened, other than he might have had to pay a fine or something, but he still grows. And when he first started growing, he put the pot plant out on the windowsill on the 2nd story. I'm going, when he told me this story, I started laughing, because this is ridiculous and stupid. It's one of the most stupid things he's ever done. Put a pot plant out in that neighborhood. He had a couple of them stolen, little pot plants. He's stolen. He's all, they stole my plant. They stole my plants. Why are you so stupid? In this neighborhood, you put them out on a windowsill. The first rule, first pot card rule is to have your pot plant locked up. Out on a windowsill is not locked up. Jail is locked up, or you can't get out, or can't get in. Can't get out or in. So that's locked up. You put it on a windowsill. You're saying, here you go, neighbors and people around driving by, because they can see it by driving by. Oh, there it is. We'll go back there. And what they did is throw a ball up there and rock it off. And stole the spotlight. I started laughing my ass off, because that's like the funniest thing. I mean, it's the stupidest thing I've heard of. But it was funny. And here he is, all serious. Oh, they stole my plane. See that ball there? They threw it up there and rocked my plane. He took it. Oh God. I won't say his name. It's ridiculous. But that was one of the funniest things he done. I used to laugh at him during when we were a child. And he'd be riding a bike or running, because he runs like a girl, so that's just funny in itself. And like he'd run into something, it's so funny. It'd be so funny the way he got himself injured. I couldn't help but laugh. But it was funny. He's a very funny person to watch sometimes. And I think the reason now I look back on that, is the reason because he started smoking pot early. You know, before 10, I think. And only he knows. I don't know. But he's always been kind of spacey type of dude. And I know this guy ain't normal because I had a couple other friends and they didn't act like him at all. These two other friends, they acted like each other. They're normal people. This person isn't a normal person, and it probably wasn't just pot or weed he was smoking. It's probably the other drugs he was doing because he admitted later in life that he did almost all the other drugs like heroin and cocaine and all the other drugs. But he says he stopped all that and does marijuana only. So that's what he says. But can you believe this guy? I mean, can you believe him? I take it for a grain of salt, anything he says or does. But he still acts like a 10-year-old. I mean, I know that. Still acts like a 10-year-old. So he has never lost that. But he still is kind of a spacey dude. But that's another story. But do you really want another Clinton in office, knowing that he promotes cocaine use, and not only promotes it but does it? I mean, he has a fleet of small planes that fly over the U.S. border, which our U.S. border men are looking for that. Oh, that's the president plane. Ignore that. We know it's got cocaine in it. We ain't gonna bother it. He was impeached, like I said. He was impeached, and like all the other presidents, and he lied under in federal court on a federal judge, and he was acquitted of all charges at the end of his presidency. But like all other presidents who were impeached, which was like 4 or 5, they all served the full term. They never were kicked out of office like impeachment's supposed to do. So, do you really want another Clinton, especially a Hillary Clinton, in office? It's gonna be high influence from Bill Clinton. Do you really want that? And why? Why would you? I don't even know why Hillary's running with that video saying all this stuff on YouTube. She ought to get that kicked off YouTube. She's gonna lose a lot of voters if many people watch that. But it's just stating facts. And he inhaled. He's lying to you. He's one of the biggest lying presidents that we ever had. It was Bill Clinton. But our economy was the highest and the best during his term. So when you got cocaine coming over the border, and drugs are the number one way to make money, kind of connected to. So it wasn't this genius, it was, the money he had. Illegal money laundering and all this other shit that actually the president did. Well, anyway, the hemp plant is a tremendous super plant that everybody should own. The government should not even say anything bad about it because they have nothing bad about it to say. I mean, that's all bullshit if they do, because none of it's proven, and they're trying to not, they make it very hard for anybody to study that drug, because they won't pay it, they won't pay to do it, because once they find out it is a super drug, the CBD part of it, not the THC, but the CBD part of it, now you got something that you can home grow. It's going to cost you a seed in dirt with water on it, and maybe some other kind of ingredient you put in the soil to make it a high CBD percentage. What's the use? You won't never need no other drug. That's what the government's afraid of. No, and then you make paper out of it, you make clothes out of it, you make rope that don't rot. Um, Shit, you make all kinds of shit out of that. And if you use the paper part of it, it lasts for damn near ever. We're not just talking like the paper pulp you get out of a tree that lasts for a few years and then yellows and gets brittle and blows away. Even our Constitution is wrote on that hemp paper. Because back in the 1900s, they grew the hemp plant for paper, and for to make clothing out of, and it's a great fuel. You can make a biofuel out of it. You can make a fuel that you can continue to grow and make, and not even need any dependency on corn oil at all, But they're worried about the drug part. They're worried about, if they find this out, you about to kiss our drug business goodbye. No more $50 billion a year making it on drugs that don't work anyway. Most drugs, that they don't work anyway. And the little girl proved it, the little girl that has epileptic seizures and only like a half teaspoon every so often will make it so she don't have 300 seizures a week or a day or whatever it was. It's like 300 seizures a week. And some of them even flatline seizures where they have to revive her to bring her back. And once they start giving half a teaspoon or so of that in her food a day, that's no longer. And all these 25 or 30 different drugs didn't do that. She still had 300 seizures. And same thing with that guy that talked like that, like his abdominal was spazzing, and he could only talk like that. And he goes, now he's talking like this. That's just 2 incidents. Just 2. Just think of all the other incidents, man, that you could do. Just try that first, then that don't work, then do pharmaceutical or increase the CBD percentage and just skip all that other drug shit. That's what the U.S. government is worried about. That's what the FDA, that's what the U.S. government is all worried about. And they'll kill you to keep that under confidentiality, or so other people don't know it. I'll be wearing a mask on this so they don't know who the hell I am. Because I might have me some federal governments out there, the FBI out there trying to get rid of the truth. It's like the X-Files I used to love. The government don't want you to have the truth. But I'm Dan. Same time, same channel. Keep watching.